So obviously there was the mass layoffs. Tina, I'm interested in your perspective on sort of where you think employment is going. I mean, obviously you're someone who has left to build your own thing. Zach, you've obviously contemplated it from what you just said.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, do we see tech companies having less of an influence, like it being less of an aspirational thing? Or is it just like, hey, layoffs, they still pay all this money and we're just going to go back to business as usual?
Yeah. So I still have quite a lot of friends in the tech industry and just working for these big companies as well. I really think if people were not cognizant previously, now they are very cognizant of the fact that you cannot let a tech company define your identity. That is not who you are. Exactly what Zach was saying as well. So it's very important. I always say, like, you don't really choose a career. You have to craft your own career. And what that means, me personally, I really admire people who can just be okay potentially being starving artists or like not having a certain quality of life. I cannot do that. I like my luxuries, if you like. So I would go for that full-time job. I would get that experience, but what I did was I built stuff on the side because I knew that didn't define my identity. And for a while, my identity was defined by working at Meta, but also doing different things on the side. And then slowly I crafted that towards what I consider to be a career right now that I really love. And I think people are starting to also move in that direction as the barrier of entry to getting other sources of income, other parts of their career starts opening up. So if people haven't realized this already, I do think it's important to think about that. Like, how do you, instead of depending on external sources to fulfill yourself, how do you fulfill yourself by yourself using the resources around you?
Yeah, I what I really like about that is you're like, instead of these big tech companies necessarily using you, because that's what they do, right? Your employees, they pay you money, they don't have any loyalty to you. It's like you are, in some sense, like very expensive, highly trained cogs in our machine. And on the other side of that, what you're saying is you're effectively using these big tech companies to enable your lifestyle, to enable something for you to build on the side or to give you more autonomy, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I've definitely felt very grateful about that, about like the position that, like, because I definitely fell into that identity trap, like especially when I worked at Netflix, where I just let it consume me. It was like, that was my end all be all, dude, of just like working at that company, right? And like that was a lot, right? And like there was definitely times there where like I was like, it felt very precarious, right? Where I was like, uh-oh, because it was like essentially if like work was stressful, like my entire life was stressful, right? And it was like when work was good, my entire life was good, but it was just like this like crazy like seesaw effect that I was getting, right? And but on the other side, like I also recognize it's like, yeah, they also paid me very well, right? And that like I can now make, investment decisions. I can invest in startups. I can like, take some risky bets, right? And try different things out like that and like really build something on my own too, right? Because it's like I have the initial capital to do that now, and I don't even have to like go through YC or whatever if I don't want to, right? And so for sure, there's like it opens up the door as well to like other things, right? Especially like if you don't want to like take investor money. That's like definitely something I've noticed about working in big tech that has been really good. Like it's definitely a trade-off though, for sure.
Yeah.